I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Germar Derron. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm good. I'm very good. It's been a good day. How are you?
I'm excellent, actually. It's been a great day on my side. Like the things I can complain for. Like I have one friend, he says, I could complain, but I can't.
I like that. I'll adopt that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, so definitely my cup of tea. But Germar, please do tell. My apologies, Germar. Please do tell me, what part of the world are you in right now?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I move around a lot, but right now I'm in the Midwest, U.S., Indiana to be exact.
Okay, all right. Which of your talents is responsible for us connecting?
I guess that would have to be podcasting. I host Look to the Cookie, the podcast, for the last 4 years.
Oh, sweet. I love the name of the podcast, right? It's just like it sounds so... It doesn't sound sumptuous, but it rings off your tongue, if you would. Look to the cookie. You know, it's like...
I'm glad you said that. I've never really had anybody say anything about the name, so I like that.
Yeah. So where did you come up with the name from?
Well, I totally stole it from a Seinfeld episode. So some people get the reference and like it. Some people don't. But it's right from the Seinfeld episode where they talked about a black and white cookie and world harmony and having the best of both worlds, basically. So
Sweet.
That's where I took it from.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, look to the cookie. I love it. So who did you learn the skill of podcasting from?
Well, I went to school. I got 2 degrees in audio, and I did speech and theater. I did a lot of things in communication. So that's where I got the kind of technical, oh my goodness.
Could we leave that there, please?
Please do. That was the alarm to let me know that I should be on the podcast. Wow.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah.
So to answer that question again, I went to school where I learned those skills, and then a little bit after that in grad school, one of my friends had a podcast, and that was the first time I was actually a guest on a podcast. And as I went through life with my journalism education and my audio education, I just put the 2 together, and that became podcasting.
Wow. Sounds like fun. So how long have you been doing this?
So the first podcast I ever appeared on was 2006.
Wow.
But I began my own podcast, I would say, in 2013, I believe, May of 2013. Yeah. And since then, I've been on, probably about 500 different episodes of podcasts.
Wow, that's intriguing. Wow. So tell me, please, the topic that you've chosen, which is DC, if you would. Well, the conversation I heard, like you were just talking about DC, right? And the mixed signals that it's sending, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So tell me, where did you get that inspiration to speak on that topic particularly from?
That is a good question. Actually, I was in law school, and my girlfriend and myself at the time, we thought that the law wouldn't be the way to make the mark we wanted. And we came up with the idea to start a podcast. And on that podcast, we cover everything, but from kind of a political lens, I guess. So we do pop culture, TV, comic books, anything in the world, but from more of a political, maybe even legal side. So DC Comics and TV shows and movies all fall under that umbrella.
All right. Sounds good. Like, so amazing audience, he was talking about The Flash and Barry being a bit of a weak Barry, if you would. I was like, wow.
You actually listened. Yeah, I did say that. That's funny.
It was just intriguing. Well, my friend, you've been doing this for a bit. You've even appeared on so many podcasts. Why will you continue to repeat the skill of what is required for being a podcaster?
Partially, I enjoy it a lot. It's been a lot of fun for me. It is kind of the ultimate, I guess, culmination or, I don't know, accumulation of everything that I've learned my entire life. So every bit of knowledge I've ever had, every class I've ever taken, everything I've ever done, I can put it all into one thing. And it actually just feels good. We always say it's kind of like a part of therapy, too. It's just nice. It's just fun. You feel better after you finish one.
Yeah, definitely true. Where would you point people to if they wanted to connect with your podcast?
I guess I would say just go to the site. It's looktothecookie.org. But if you Google Look to the Cookie, I'll be somewhere on that first page.
Wonderful. Well, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently, Germar, over the last 3 years.
So other than podcasting, the one thing that I think I've gotten into lately and done pretty consistently is sports, like getting really active again in adult leagues and pickup leagues, basketball, football, tennis, and it's been a lot of fun actually.
How does it make you feel?
Great. I mean, the competitiveness is cool. It just you feel better. It's a good workout, so it just kind of lift your spirits. Whatever those things are, the chemical things that happens, everything about it just feels good.
And why would you suggest to a fellow podcaster that's listening, or even the listener of the podcast, right, why they should do the same thing?
Well, I guess you'll surprise yourself, maybe, and that's kind of how I feel about it. I was always a pretty good athlete in high school and maybe early college, but I was never very competitive. I only did one varsity sport in high school, but I've actually become a better athlete as I've gotten older, even though I don't have the athleticism. You just get wiser and smarter, and you will surprise yourself at the things you can do at, I don't know, 25, 35, 45. So that's been a really fun thing.
Yeah, that's intriguing. Yeah. Ooh. My bones are still screaming, but
it'll happen.
Yeah, it's worth the try. It's worth the try. Well, amazing audience, we are live with Germar Derron, and again, he is the podcast host of Look to the Cookie. Like, I could say that for the entire night, right? So Look to the Cookie podcast. Definitely check that out. Fun stuff going on there. Well, Germar, let's switch gears for a moment, and let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Okay.
Germar, what is your earliest childhood memory?
So going back, I'm pretty sure the age is 3, and that earliest memory is of my best friend. His name was Gary, and I would go to the daycare center, and every day that I went to the daycare center, he'd greet me and give me a big hug. And I remember a lot from that year, but definitely my earliest memories is from that year at the daycare center, being about 3 years old.
Wow. So why do you think this memory is so clear?
It's hard to say, but my guess is that I like that sort of friendship. I don't know if I have one best friend today, and I think outside of grade school, it's kind of hard to form that kind of relationship where you have that one person who's your everything, and they're not like your partner, your wife, or whatever. And it's just such a pure and innocent relationship, I guess.
Yeah, that's intriguing. The one thing that like popped in my mind immediately, and it's because of the programming I've gotten thus far in this conversation from Look to the Cookie, is like Cookie Monster saying, "Give me a hug."
That's hilarious. One person who listened to the podcast actually came up with the idea of the fans of the site being Cookie Monsters, and I was like, oh yeah, I like that. I hadn't even thought of it.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. You know, Cookie Monster definitely has that tough love finish, if you would.
Right.
Back in the days from Sesame Street. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song right there?
Ooh, age 12, I think I do know what it was. It would have been Got to Be There by Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like your friend, right? Like, hey, you got to be there. I got to get that hug, right? Got to be there.
That is kind of true. I didn't think about it, but that is basically the song. He has to be there for when the woman comes home and give her that kiss. And I don't know, I was just into music and performing, and Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. I mean, that song must have come out in maybe 1972, so I wasn't even thought of. Yeah. But even in the 90s, I was listening to this song, so it was my favorite song.
It's just fascinating how these things connect. Just fascinating. All right, my friend. Well, we have arrived at our destination. It was a quick ride, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, so it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. Are you ready, Germar?
Okay.
Germar, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I would say no, I haven't chosen anyone. I would love for it to be siblings or nieces, nephews, that sort of thing. But if anybody, the interns that come through the website.
Are you married?
I am not.
Do you have children?
No, I do not.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I would say yes, for sure.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Definitely not.
How about 3 hours a week?
For sure, definitely.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Ooh, that is really close. I would say it's just under maybe.
All right. Germar, after 1,001 conversations, in 3 months, I came up with a workbook, self-reflective, self-discovery workbook, where questions like these are answered with the idea to connect you with your mission, which I term your own unique real statement. I'm intrigued to know if you could share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are. What would you say that is?
Ooh, I wish I had one. I think something that I say a lot, I don't know if it's my own unique real statement, but I always say that what other people think of you matters. And the reason I say that is because all of my friends and people I know regularly say it doesn't matter what other people think, but I think it's kind of all that matters. All people have of you is their perception and ideas of you. You can't change that necessarily, but it does matter what other people think of you.
Intriguing. Ooh, la la. Well, hey, Germar, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would just say thank you for having me on the show, and thank all of you for listening. And if you have a chance, check out Look to the Cookie.
Look to the Cookie. Love it. Germar Derron. Say your name. Let me hear you say your name the way you would say.
Okay, Germar Derron.
Germar Derron. Yeah. Germar Derron, thank you, my friend, for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.